much. Let me first, before I run out of time, let me first thank you all for your support. I've been on television now 21 years. This is my 22nd. We're the longest running African American male in the history of television. Everybody wondering what I'm going to do next. Well, I got to beat Oprah. That's 3 more years. I'll be the longest running black person in the history of television. So I thank you all, because it wouldn't have happened were it not for Detroit believing in me, as Hiram just described, and voting me in as the youngest judge in the history of Michigan, 15 years out of jail. That's Detroit for you. You all know what to do. You know the difference, and you know the impact that folks will make in your city. That's why you all always make the right choice, for the most part. I'm told I have 10 to 12 minutes to speak, and so I would love to recognize everyone, all my friends here with us this evening, all the leadership that is here with us, but I'm certainly obligated to recognize those who had a significant role in my life. As you heard, Bill Bakar gave me my first job at one of his McDonald's, and we've been friends ever since. I will tell you, I told Bill Bakar when I was working for him, after I come out of college, starting college, right before I worked for him. Came out of college, before going to law school, I worked for him. When I told him I was going to law school, he said, well, where are you going to practice at? China or Japan? Because there were too many lawyers. I said, no, I'm going to be practicing, and you'll see me again. And sure enough, a few years later, I saw him sitting at the table of the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation. I was there on behalf of City Council, and he was a member of it. So we did meet up again some years later at the table together, and we've been there together ever since. Thank you, Bill, for all you've done. I want to thank Mayor Archer, who's done such a great job with the city. You know, all I know is that when he became mayor, our property values were some of the lowest in the country. We were the most impoverished city in the country. I distinctly remember that by the time he left, we were the number 19 as the most impoverished country in America. It went from the most impoverished to 19 under Mayor Archer's administration. And my housing values doubled. I don't know about you all. And so he did a great job in the area that we most need him, because if you were a crime-ridden and drug-ridden city, people aren't moving in, your prices aren't going up, and people aren't hiring your folks like they were then. Thank you for all you did, Mayor Archer. You never received the credit that you deserve, but we love you. Hiram Jackson, we met, as he says, some 30 years ago. We've been friends ever since. We talk, we're partners, we're confidants. And I love him dearly. He is the leader of the Michigan Chronicle and Real Times Media, and we have increased the awareness and circulation digitally and otherwise, and the many, many events that are held around the country. He lifts Detroit up. And Dennis Jr., you forgot to tell him what happened after that man said that in the bathroom. I guess you didn't want to hurt my reputation. When the man said, sorry about Detroit, I said, I'm sorry about what's about to happen to you. About my city. That was Dennis Jr. over there. You better ask him what type of cat I am. And how much I love my city. So I thank you all. And I want to recognize one of my dearest friends. He is representing tonight the Sheriff of Wayne County. He is Michael Turner, the Chief of Staff, and my 40-year friend. We started out in politics, and we've been together ever since, and I love him dearly. Give him a big hand. He and his wife Shirley are here together as well. I have Solomon Choice, the director of my community center. We've known each other since we were 7 years old. We both became troubled youth. I overcame mine a little earlier than him, but he ultimately overcame his obstacles, and when he did and came home, I appointed him as the director of the Mathis Community Center on Greenfield and 7 Mile, and he's done a great job, works better than any of the other professionals I have employed in Chicago and Los Angeles with all their lofty degrees. He is the best executive that I have. Give him a hand, Solomon Choice. godfather of all of us. You know, Bill Picard will hire you and work you to death. But that's why he runs with Swanson. He'll work you to death. And O'Neill will bury you once he's working you to death. I think he's left, but that's a dear leader of ours. We love him dearly, O'Neill Swanson. Let me recognize all of the honorees. You're certainly making us proud today. And as Hiram says, some folks wondered how we could get 600 men of excellence over the years and thinking we would run out. But no, we're not going to run out. We're just being told we're going to run out because of the projections that the media makes regarding black men in particular. You would think we're going to run out. Indeed, the media projects our men as sicker, slicker, doped up, freaked out than we really are. Most of us are church-going men, family men, church-going youth, doing their best at these failing schools that they're subjected to, and seeking employment and want to work for livable wages. And so I'm really looking around and disappointed that the media isn't here tonight when we're celebrating 50 great men, young men of excellence. Instead, they're somewhere across town waiting on some shooting so that they can put some crazy-looking Negro with his hair all turned and slobbed out and cracked out on the television and scare everybody out the city. That's what happened. Thank God for the Michigan Chronicle. We can tell our own story. We can tell our own story. And that story is that black men are perhaps the most endangered human being on the face of the planet, or human species. Yes, we are proud and we are supportive of the Me Too movement. We are supportive of diversifying our corporations at the highest levels with black women. We are happy for that. We are supportive of the black women who are being elected throughout the country. Give them a hand. Just Stacey Abrams, give the other black women a hand. They're leading this country. We're proud of them. And we're proud of our black women being strong enough to take hold of the electoral process and are now the most important vote. Their vote is being sought after more than any other group of people in America right now. Once again, ladies, give yourselves a hand. But in a real way, our challenge is to launch a Black He Too movement. Brothers, we have to step up to the plate. We're in danger, but our sisters were in danger. But they worked their way into the spotlight of America's psyche. That's why they're talking about black women, because they worked their way into the minds of black and white America. They're talking about black women and the empowerment that they seek because they know and they've seen the strength of a black woman working 2 jobs, raising children alone, while going to school. Here you have a brother hanging on the corner talking about what somebody won't do for them. And that's why we should all be so pleased and honored to be associated with these 50 brothers who are going to change that scenario and who are going to go out and help empower our other brothers so that we'll eliminate that stereotype and we'll address what is perhaps the biggest challenge in the black community. Indeed, it is the biggest challenge because it is the man who is projected in American society as the breadwinner We're told, or in Western civilization in general, we're told you're not a real man unless you can provide for your family. Indeed, that's the measure of manhood in many ways. Your ability to provide. Well, it's kind of a cruel trick, if you will, to set the standard of manhood, black manhood in particular, to providing and being gainfully employed, and criticize them while they're unemployed and unable to provide, when indeed the employers, who are overwhelmingly white males, have snatched the rug from up under them. So how can you say to a black man, you need to be the head of your household and a provider, and when your children come to you and tell you their needs, and they say, Daddy, and they look up at you, and your wife is there, and your woman or whichever, and she's on you and talking about, well, when you going to bring some money in this house? When you going to get a job? You just hang around, you're out there on the street, and the babies are coming up to you, Daddy, I want some Jordans, I want some Nike Tim shoes like the rest of the kids, and all you can do is wipe your head. Then you're going to run out and leave your family and seek to reduce the pain of poverty with drugs and alcohol and throw you into a life of crime. We weren't born to be criminals. There's no genetic trait in black men that causes us to leave our families, engage in criminal conduct. Most of it is the vestiges of slavery. You haven't even allowed us to appreciate family because you took them from us. For over 200 years, you broke our families up and you treated us, black men, like studs. Our only purpose to you was to make babies. And now when that legacy continues, or the vestiges rather, in some quarters, you want to stand back and say, Yeah, you should stand back and say, Look what we created after 200 years of programming and oppression. Instead, they want to paint us as if we're some type of angry, violent sociopaths. You know, I was a member of President Obama's My Brother's Keepers task force. And what we found from our research and our work was that the Criminal Justice Committee, in which I served on, we found that most of what is happening to black men, particularly the unarmed shootings of black men and the unemployment, etc., was a result of society's stereotypes of black men. Meaning, black men are projected, as you know in the media, as angry, violent sociopaths who don't want to work, who just want to prey on others, predators, demons. And so when you program society with those stereotypes, certainly we are going to look like demons. And as the police officer in the killing of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, one of our early and most telling cases of shooting of unarmed black men, the officer said his eyes turned red like a demon. And he appeared that he was going to rush at me. Look it up, don't take my word. Like the devil. He's just echoing what many think, that we are demons. And what does the Bible say do with demons? You cast them out. You kill them. black men are killed, there's not much pity. You're supposed to be killed. You're a demon. That's what we have been told. And so, we brothers and sisters have to let our black men know that they have to stand strong just as your sisters have. Brothers, we know that we're denied equal opportunity. We know that we're rejected and alienated in many corners, but you got to fight back. Like these 50 brothers, like all of us in the room. Every one of us got a post story. Every one of us got a ghetto story. Every one of us. Some of our ghetto stories are a little worse than others. But every one of us. And so, we must share those stories. Not act like we just showed up with our shirt and tie and our suit and did well for ourselves. No, tell that story. Tell about grandma. Tell about granddad. Tell about what happened to you when you go down to the south. Tell them what happens to you now in the north. Tell your story to inspire. Folks say, well, Judge, why are you always talking about your background? Well, number one, I didn't tell folks. I never wanted folks to know I was a thug. I had worked in politics and civil rights for years. It wasn't until I ran for judge that they tried to disclose my background and stop me from being elected. And what they thought would destroy me, God used it to lift me up. I tell that story to inspire. I tell that story, and you should tell your story to inspire. And let them know that no black men aren't the demons that you think they are. Black men are not the men, the lazy men that don't want to work. Detroit, black men are 30% unemployed. Now you can't tell me 30% of the black men in Detroit don't want to work. Now you might have a few trifling ones. You can set a job in their lap and they still won't go. They'll just sit there. But for the most part, we want to work for livable wages. Not for slave wages. We've seen that movie before. Folks want to know why black men aren't working. Why don't you just go and get a job at such and such and support them? Yeah, that's all right for me. I was 17, 18, and then after come out 21. But that's not all right for a 35-year-old man with 3 children and a wife to go take a part-time job or to take a temporary job of substandard wages. Ooh, we got a great unemployment rate. This is the largest unemployment rate in the history of the world. Yeah, for temporary jobs, for low-paid jobs. Jobs without protections. And by the way, it started in 2008, this recovery, when the great president we had saved the U.S. economy, President Obama. When they say over 100, I don't think these folks can really count. Because, and I know as a lawyer I can, but I do know that if you tell me that this is the longest running successful economy, and that long run has been 122 or 120 months or so, well, and then you take that. Let's do the math. 120 months, how many years? 10 years. You've only been around for 2 years, for 24 of those months. But yet you want to take credit and say that I've created the longest running, the greatest, and in the history of the world. Now that's one of your lies that we can look at the numbers and refute. And so we know that there's challenges in employment, and we know we're denied equal opportunity, but brothers, we can't give up. Can't run to the corner, try and smoke our problems away, try and drink our problems away, can't punk out. No, fight back if you're tough.
I see all my old buddies when I go back to the hood. We got a housing projects reunion I sponsor every year. Next week, I'll be there and they'll be telling me, well, Judge, it's hard, man. I can't. I said, man, hold on. Weren't you in the street with your chest out, talking tough, talking about how you the man? And now you talking about what white people won't do for you? And that's how they won't let me in the door. So what? Kick it down. Fight back. I tell them that story. I say, what did you in the street together? One out in the same jail as you were in. And then I'm coming out punking out wondering what they were doing to me. No, I fought back. Indeed, the way I got my law license, they held up my law license for 3 years because of my record as a juvenile. Or as an adult, one conviction, but it was expunged. 17 didn't try this. Gotta get Kim to change that. But Duncan did change this. Well, I work on Kim, change that, trying 17-year-olds as an adult. Their minds aren't developed enough to understand. So, moving on, we had the same situation. But I fought back when they tried to hold me back. Took me 3 years, had to go before the state Supreme Court. And I was nervous because Justice Archer had just left. And I was stuck with Conrad Mallett. My man. He's my buddy. I'm just talking stuff. But the good news is he must have had a positive role because I got my license. After 3 years. I didn't give up. And that's the story that has to go out. And as I leave, I want to say to our brothers, yes, we know that we've been subjected to a failed education system. They've removed the jobs from our community, replaced them with guns and drugs for us to kill ourselves with, and then those left standing, you subject them to a criminal industrial complex, prison industrial complex, which seeks to make money off the misery they've created in neglecting us, in neglecting our children, in neglecting our school system. Make money off of it. Well, we can't just give up, brothers. When they portray you as a demon, show up at the Meal of Excellence looking good. No one can be accused of being a demon either. And if we continue to fight for solutions, we'll get there. You know, that's why I'm in support of $15 minimum wage for black men to take care of their families. That's a livable wage. And so that's why that's important. Well, that's why it's important also for black business to thrive. Because it is a known statistic that black businesses, over 80% of their employees are black. And white businesses, less than 10% are black. And so when we are empowered economically, we empower ourselves and our community. And so that's why it concerns me when I don't see enough activity among African American businesses here in Detroit. And, you know, brothers and sisters, we just can't sit back and complain. We can't sit back and talk about it to each other. What you scared of? You're being denied contractual activity in your own city. A city 90% black, and you can't get a contract, and you're scared to talk about it. I get blackballed. You're already blackballed. That's why you don't have a contract. Let them try and deny Dennis Jr. He'd be out there with a picket sign. That's what y'all need to do. Instead of just laying back hiding. that man go visit his woman and y'all go ahead and fight for y'all contract. Let me get off this stage. I'm about to get in trouble. I told Hiram, I said, he told me I had 10 minutes. I said, okay, I'm going to tell them like our official no doubt tells his girlfriend when he comes by. I won't be here long. So it is. I pay my taxes and I'm free. I'm a runaway, y'all. I left the plantation. I can say what I want. My wife got some money. Not to be cheap, so they can't take that from us either. But brothers, that's what I want you to do. Fight until you're free. Fight until you're free. Until you're free to stand up against anyone in your way. This land is your land. This city is your city. And you look like a damn fool running around here talking about what you can't get out of somebody that's running your city. And so as I leave, I suggest we continue to fight. We have won every fight we have engaged, and we've lost every fight we failed to engage. We fought for emancipation, we won. We fought for desegregation, we won. We fought for voting rights, and we won the presidency. When we fight, we win. So now it's time to fight again. Fight back. And get out there and fight for what you want. Get out there and march for what you want. Get down on your knees and pray for what you want. And in November 2020, get out there and vote about it. Thank you, and God bless.